Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, as you can tell by the title, I am going to give you my top 10 tips for studying abroad. Now, studying abroad can be very scary, very nerve-wracking, and very unexpected. So I want to give you 10 tips that I thought of right off the top of my head. I could probably give you a million more, but if you have any questions that I don't answer in this video, definitely comment them below and I'd love to help you out because studying abroad was the best experience of my life and I guarantee you that it will be the best experience of your life as well. So without further ado, let's get into the video. My first tip that I will give anyone, and the first thing that I quickly learned, is to first be observant. Be aware of your surroundings, who's around you, where you're going. I know a lot, especially in Europe, in big cities. I studied abroad in Florence, Italy, which I should have mentioned in the beginning of the video, but if you have seen my previous videos, you've probably heard me talk about it because I'm literally obsessed. In the bigger cities, at least in Europe, I know that there are a lot of gypsies and pickpocketers. A little brief explanation of what a gypsy is people who either will dress up in weird costumes and have you take a picture with them and then have either someone else come in and pickpocket you and basically rob you, or they'll do it yourself because you're distracted. Another one is them selling you stuff. Like, I remember a huge thing when we were there was selfie sticks that they would always try to sell us, and umbrellas. So just be aware, just say no, you don't need that stuff, even if you think it's cool to take a picture. I mean, I don't want to say don't trust anyone, but that is definitely known because if you do take a picture with them, a lot of the time they expect you to give them money for taking the picture, which is extremely annoying and they are very creepy. Another reason to be observant is because when you first get there, you're not going to know how to get around everywhere and you're going to have to take about like a week or two to really become familiar of how to get places, what big landmarks are. So that's my top tip, is to, when you're walking around, pick out landmarks so you know how to get back to where you were staying. The first day that me and my roommate were there, we got lost for 2 hours trying to get back to our apartment, which was literally right off of the biggest landmark, the Duomo in Florence, and we literally couldn't get back. So just be aware. Another thing is, don't use the exchange little shops. There's little shops that will say exchange. I'll see if I can insert a picture here. Don't use that for currencies. A lot of the time in Europe, the main source of money is euros. So just use the ATMs. If you have a card, just go to the bank, take out the amount of money that you need because you're going to be taking out money in whatever the currency is. So I would say before a trip, if it's going to be euros, take out the amount of euros that you need or have a little bit of extra. And then when you get to the place that you are going, find a legit ATM and just take out the money there. The exchange stores will do exchange rates and kind of rip you off. So just go to a legit ATM bank and take out money. My next tip is, don't be afraid to spend money. So obviously don't go crazy and just spend money on everything. But one thing that I do regret is that I didn't spend money on little sentimental things to bring home. So I bought this. This is why I'm wearing this sweatshirt. This is my school. I went to Florence University of the Arts. This is my school. And then on the back, I'll see if I can like stand up and show you guys. I don't know if this is even gonna work. So I got this one because, yeah, do you like my outfit? I'm wearing like gym shorts. This is like the gym at my school because I used to, when I was there, I'd work out a lot. So I liked this one better than any of the other ones. But don't be afraid to buy little souvenir things. I didn't. I'm pretty sure this is like the only thing that I really bought. I spent a lot of money on my traveling and everything, which is another tip. Obviously, go out, have fun. A lot of places in Europe, you're legal at the age of 18. So when people go abroad, typically they're under 21. Go out, have fun, spend money, but also use your money wisely. So if you're going on trips, I typically spent more of my money on staying in a nicer place, like a hotel, because they're really not that expensive there rather than a hostel. Souvenir wise, I kind of wish that I got little t-shirts somewhere. I bought a postcard. If you want to do this, if you really want to save money and do what I did, I bought a postcard every single place that I went. I would buy 2, so I'd buy 1 to keep, so I had a postcard from every single place that I went, and then I would buy another one and actually send it out to different people. But it's just nice to have those little souvenirs when you come home. Like, I didn't really buy any big items when I was there. It was more of just spending money on the experiences, which obviously I am all for spending money on experiences versus material things, but you'll always have those little souvenirs. So be careful of how much money you're spending, but don't be afraid to spend some and invest in something that you really love and you want to take home with you. My next tip is if you are specifically going to Italy, I mean, other places in Europe have gelato, but in Italy, do not buy the gelato that is overflowing in the little metal things. I'll again try to insert a picture in here. Those gelatos are not authentically made. They will basically refreeze them, and the reason why they're overflowing is to make them look pretty. Buy the gelato that is in gelato shops, kind of more hidden away from the center of the city, and you want it to be very flat. I'll insert a picture of my beloved gelato, which I literally talk about and miss every single day. So as you can see in this picture, it's flat because they make it homemade there and they have it, so they'll make it and then just put it in the container. So it's not for aesthetic purposes, but it is so much better than the other ones because they'll refreeze the other ones and they're not like homemade every single day. Another tip I have is to explore. Don't be afraid to explore. So like I said, just become familiar with the area that you're in and just go explore and find those hidden places that you wouldn't normally find. A lot of people will go to the touristy areas or the tourist attractions. So if you can really dive deep into your culture and into the life of where you're living, where the locals live, that is definitely a tip that would be a huge benefit in your experience there, because you really get to see how the locals act and live every single day rather than just being surrounded by a bunch of tourists. Also, wear comfortable shoes and wear shoes that you won't mind getting ruined. I literally had to throw away a pair of shoes when I got home because the heel of it was falling off. My next tip is if you are flying, typically flights over in Europe are a lot cheaper than they are in the US because you're flying so close. But don't be fooled. If the flight is cheap, make sure you read the fine print or what the extra fees are going to be, because they will always get you with those fees because the flight is so cheap. One example is Ryanair. Check in online. I believe it's 24 hours ahead is when you can check in. Check in online, because if you don't check in and you get there, you have to pay basically more than what the flight was just to be checked in on the plane. I don't know why, but just do it. Just make sure that you're aware of the extra fees and what you're paying for, because they will try to scam you for any money that you have. My next tip is make sure you go see the historical places of where you're traveling. It's so amazing, different places in the world that have these amazing landmarks that have been there for centuries and years, and just learning the history behind it. Going abroad is all about having fun, but you're also in this place that has so much history behind it, so go see those places in person. I look at things on TV and I'm like, oh my god, like I was there. That's crazy. One mistake I made was I went to Rome for an entire day, and it was one of the first trips that we went on. It was on like the first weekend, but it was a late trip that we had just decided to go on, and we didn't really plan ahead of what we were going to be doing or where we were going to be going, and we missed pretty much the biggest landmarks. The only thing we saw was the outside of the Colosseum, but we missed the Vatican, we missed like literally everything. So do your research ahead of time and figure out where you want to go, what places, what restaurants, that's another tip. Figure out what good food places are and what like authentic local places are, so you can get like the best food and just have a good time everywhere you go. So my tip with packing is pack staple pieces. You are going abroad for usually 3 to 4 months. Sometimes it can be more. They bring staple items that can be mix and match, so you can have multiple different outfits within a few amount of clothing pieces. I'm really struggling. You have to pack light because obviously with checking a bag, it has to be under 50 pounds, and then your carry-on has to be a certain size. So I brought one suitcase, which a lot of the other girls were like surprised about because they brought 2, but I brought 1. I could have probably had 2. I don't think I would have needed 2 full suitcases, but I could have used a few other items. I packed like a few pair of jeans, a couple pairs of leggings. The time that I was going over there, it was going to be a little bit cooler, so I had different basic sweaters, and then like things like different basic color tank tops, or just things that you can pair with different items is going to save you a lot of space. And while you're there, you're probably going to be going shopping and getting more clothes, so you don't have to leave a bunch of your stuff there. But if you need to leave any items there, which I actually did leave a few, I left like my towels there. I threw away another pair of shoes that was destroyed. I had like little travel size shampoo and conditioners, but I didn't bring like things like a razor, things that I knew that I could buy over there. So just think about what you're going to be able to buy there and what you're going to be able to leave when you come home. I hope that made sense. This is kind of what inspired me and made me think of filming this video. Journal every day if you can. If you can't do every day, at least do a couple times a week or after a weekend trip that you go on. I, at the beginning, was journaling every single night, talking about what happened during the day, because you're gonna look back and you're gonna remember all like the adventures that you had, but you're not gonna remember every little detail. And when I first went, I was miserable because I was homesick. It was a huge culture shock. I was just out of my comfort zone, and I journaled about these things that I really never would have remembered if I hadn't written them down. So throughout the trip, I kind of started to write a little bit less, but I made sure that at least after every single trip that I went on, I wrote about the trip and the things that happened so I'd be able to remember. I've only been like 2 years out of studying abroad, and there are things that I forget. So think about years down the road when you look back at this journal of the things that you wouldn't remember. So try to journal every single day if you can, if not at least after every single weekend or week, because your time flies by and you want to remember every single second of it, the good and the bad. And my last tip is to promise that you will go back to wherever you traveled. I am still like heartbroken that I haven't fulfilled this yet. I've been trying to go back to Florence, but there just hasn't been the right time, or I haven't had the finances to be able to do that. Promise yourself that you will. And if you first get there, take it from my experience. If you think you hate the place and you say you're never gonna go back there, because that's what I said about Italy. I said I hated it. I hated the people there. Everyone was rude. I was just lost and tired and homesick and cried a lot. And I said that I would never go back. But give it a couple weeks and you will literally fall in love with where you are. It becomes your second home. I feel like if I went back to Florence right now, I would just feel like I'm home. You're living there and you're living on your own and you're in this new place, and just don't be afraid and just literally take in every single second that you're there, every single experience that you can take in, and just learn as much as you can and just learn to love where you are, because I promise you, no matter what, you are going to love where you're staying. That is all I have for you guys today. Oh, there was one other thing. Bring an umbrella. An umbrella, I never realized how important an umbrella is until you are walking, at least like I was walking like 1.5 miles to my classes, and if it's pouring rain out, that umbrella is going to save your life and save your clothes and save you from looking like you just jumped in a pool. So that's my last. But anyways, leave any other questions that you have below. Don't be afraid to comment anything that you're thinking, any video ideas that you want to see. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. And don't forget to subscribe if you like this. I hope to see you guys in the next video. I love you so, so much. I am going to be starting school soon, and I've been working, so I'm gonna try to film as much as I can. I know I say this in every single video, but I'm trying. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.